Hello everyone, this is Thomas from PLC2SQL.com, and in today's video I would like to show you a Microsoft SQL library for CODESYS running on PLC from TURCK. So in here we have PLC in IP20 from company TURCK. The PLC has CODESYS target for CODESYS 3.5, so we can use this library on it. In this example we will use just main PLC logic without any input or output card, because we don't need them. We will just connect our PLC to router, and the router will connect it to the internet, and we will be able to communicate from this PLC with SQL library in internet. First thing what we have to do is go to PLC2SQL.com. From products, choose Microsoft SQL library for CODESYS 3.5 TURCK. Go here, and here is a demo, so click on try for free, download the package, unzip to desktop, open CODESYS Development System, Toolbox, Package Manager, and here choose Install. In our site from desktop, TURCK, Microsoft SQL TURCK package. Yeah, next. Full setup, next. Yes. This will take a while, so I will skip it. So everything was installed. You can see that there was installed library Microsoft SQL library TURCK. You can see that in your user, see user, my name, and here is a new folder with all the data. So okay, click finish, close. So firstly we have to open the example. Example is stored in user root folder. So CODESYS Microsoft SQL library TURCK library. Examples, we will open the example. Next thing what we have to do is to open the Chrome web browser. Try if our PLC is reachable. Here we can see that IP address on PLC was set up by the DHCP server. This is the IP address. And this is the default gateway which allows PLC communicate with internet. So we will go back to CODESYS. Go here. Put IP address here. Press enter. You can see that PLC is reachable. We will try to connect with it. We will choose login with download. Source code will be compiled and downloaded to PLC. Now we will put PLC to run. And here is the main program. From here we can see that we have two examples. One is compact one, second one is example. The basic one for advanced users. We will start with compact one, so we'll put it to first variable, Control F7. And here is a compact example which connects to database. Here we set up the DNS name of the server. Here is the port. Here is the timeout, which is 1 second. This is the name how the PLC will be named on SQL server. Here is a username, password, the database where we want to connect, which is called test. Here is activation number for this PLC. Without this number, this library will run only 2 hours after PLC starts. Here is our query string. I will explain later. Here is the trigger which stores data to FIFO buffer, and FIFO buffer will store this data to database. Here is the status, and here is the error message. This feature shows you if PLC cannot recognize your DNS name and convert it to IP address. So in our case, this is the the host name, and this is the IP address which it gives us. This function block is used for pinging to some server. So in our case we will try it. It's true, and we can see that this server is reachable, and it took 21 seconds to get 21 milliseconds to get a reply. This utility is used to get system time from PLC, so we can open it. In basic, it's just state machine which gives us a time. So here we have the variable with time. This function block is for inserting values. It's a function. Here we can insert test boolean, test string, test integer, test real, test double integer, and here is our time, and this function block will create insert command for us. So if I will open it, it's basically correcting strings together to get what we want. Here is the tone which generates for us pulses which will triggers storing data to database. So next thing is function which will create select query for us, and we will be able to get data from database. Basically it's also function which do the select of 5 values. We will specify here which values we want to get from table test PLC, and there is a where clause where column ID is equal to variable which is input for this function. Here we have the convert functions to get values from SQL back. So we'll start. We can do the thing that we will, let's say, we will look into the database by SQL Management Studio. We will look into the database. So this shows us that we have no data in this table. So we will insert some to have. So let's say hello YouTube, integer 12, real 1.4, double integer 4, Control F7. Now we will go here and we will simply press write data because our insert string is over here. Press Control F7, and we can see that everything was done because we got this flag done made. We can see that one row was done, and FIFO buffer moved from value 0 to value 1, and we know that FIFO buffer is already empty. We will go here, press F5. We can see our values which we put in here. There is one simple example how to do it automatically. So there is a ton query. If I will enable it, it will give me a pulse every second to store data. So we can see that FIFO buffer goes up and it changes, and if we will look to the database, we can see that values are increasing, so with the time. So here you can store your boolean values, string values, integer values, real values, double integer, also the date time, which can be timestamp for you. So I will turn it off. So we stored some data into the database. You can see, let's say it's 49 rows. And we want to see top 5 rows in our PLC. So we will use this select query. I will enable it. Now this gives us the query, and we want to get all top 5 values with value 12. So I will either to select, I will put 12, Control F7. So it looks like this. So I will press write data, Control F7, and we can see that we get back 5 rows, which is what we want because we asked only for top 5 values. And we can these values are stored, all this data is stored in structure SQL response. Here we can see that we have 6 columns, 5 rows. Here are the names of columns, but what we want to see is the converting the values. So we will say that we want to see column 1, row 1. So it's not real, and it's value bool, and we get it without error. If we want column 2, value from column 2, we can see that value from column 2 is hello YouTube, which is string. In here you can see that value is not particular type, and this one is without error. Column 3 will be, I think, double integer. Yeah, we got our value 12. Column 4 is, I think, real value. Yeah, it's 1.4. Column 5 is double integer again, value 4. And column 6 will be date time. Yeah, this is our date time, so it works well. So this is the compact version of this library. We can also freely use another version, which is called example, which is normal one, and here it works like that you have to connect to the database. You can see that you've been connected. Let's say that we want to store data. So we will store the bin true. String will be example. Double integer ID will be 458. Okay, so this function creates for us the query, the insert query, and only thing what we need to do is to execute the. We can see that it's not only one string. For this function block, you can create array of strings with length of 255. But we will execute Control F7, and we can see that row down count was 1, everything was done, command executed OK, and now we can do the thing that we will look into the database. So here is our test example. Boolean is 1, and if we will go back, we will just say that we want select query, and we will say 458. There should be only one value, only one row, sorry. So execute. We got one row, everything was executed fine. So column 1, row 1, Control F7, and you can see that you got value true. Column 2 is our string test example. Column 6 will be date time. And after all of these steps, you have to disconnect from the database. So press disconnect, Control F7, and user was disconnected from the database. So basically, firstly we have to open the example. Example is stored in user root folder. So CODESYS MicroSQL library, TURCK library. Examples, we will open the example. Next thing what we have to do is to open the Chrome web browser. Try if our PLC is reachable. Here we can see that IP address on PLC was set up by the DHCP server. This is the IP address, and this is the default